Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Steph Basic, and with me, as always, is
Level Ninja 720. How's it going, everyone?
and welcome back to the Babbling Beers podcast. Today we have an extra special interview.
I guess you can call it an interview.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk to me about my writings as a kid.
Oh boy.
I know, right? Yeah, we'd brought it up last time when we were talking about was it fan theories last time?
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about fan fiction, specifically mine. I don't really cringe too hard at mine because back when I was writing it, I wasn't writing it along the same lines as what people think of when they think of fan fiction. I.e., I wasn't making smexy time with everybody.
Okay.
Mixing people who will never meet into smexy time situations. See, it was kind of funny because my fan theories actually revolved around a different story altogether.
Really?
Yeah, because while I did fictions into various different shows and comics and whatnot, it actually all started around a different story in and of its own. Was a little boy actually with the power to transport himself into media, where he would adapt a persona in that media.
Huh. Interesting.
So, like if he were to travel into the MCU, he would become a character of the MCU, not a particular character, but his own character.
He would be able to entrench himself in. It's like being a chameleon, except in terms of being in the world, right?
Right. That's exactly right. Yep. That way he wouldn't, immediately be called out like, hey, you're different. You shouldn't be here. Yeah.
Outcast.
Yeah. It's, that part of the story was actually one of my favorite stories in and of itself, because it was I don't know if you'd call it a self-narrative or something. It was about a little boy who was living in a not-too-friendly house. His was a little worse than mine, but in a way that might have been a little bit of a way of making things feel a little less real. And, so he discovered this way to escape into these different worlds that he enjoyed on TV all the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like something interesting.
Yeah.
And you could also encompass a bunch of different franchises, and they would be able to fan out and have a lot of potential.
Yeah. I couldn't just, have the stories that everyone else is like, oh yeah, I'm this person in such and such world. It's awesome. No, I had to actually make a story as to why I was in these worlds.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah, but
otherwise it just sounds funny.
Yeah. And then you end up
not ha funny.
Yeah, then you end up creating characters like the Mary Sue.
The Mary Sue.
Yeah, it's a character archetype that essentially is perfect in every way, good at everything, but has had no training or qualifications, or should even have that level of experience.
Oh,
based off
I never heard of that.
Yeah,
That's new.
It's based off of a fan fiction from an author about Star Trek, where she created her character Mary Sue within the Star Trek universe, and she was basically the go-to expert on everything.
Oh, God moding yourself.
Pretty much, yeah. I know everything. I can do everything. I'm in love with the most handsome people in this world. Yeah, there's a male counterpart to it is the Gary something. It's essentially a male version of that. The Mary Sue. character archetypes. Weird.
The Judgy Joey.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised you haven't heard that going around these days, because it's been tossed around a lot.
I just knew it as a god moding. Because I don't know if you ever heard of a website called, this is going off tangent, but a website called Gaea Online.
It sounds familiar.
It's kind of like a little, you create your own avatar, and you can post on forums and stuff, and you can build money up.
I know I know the type, yeah.
Buy armor and stuff. Yeah, well, when I had a time period where I didn't have any money to really play any games or anything, or didn't have access to internet steadily, so I would just go to the library and, you know, burn my hour worth of internet time and just play Gaea top of my friends.
Oh, yeah. They had something, I think it was called Second Life. It was kind of like that.
Yeah, I heard of Second Life. I never messed around with it, but I've heard of it.
I hear it was more into the real side of life rather than the cool, like, armor and characters that you could build sort of thing. But it was more like you build your own characters. And then the furries took it over.
Yeah, I enjoyed Gaea. Actually, I made a avatar for my my channel. I made Bubble Ninja on there.
Nice. We ought to sometime actually maybe see if Gaia's still alive. Maybe. But anyway,
Gaea is still alive, actually.
Oh wow!
Like I said, I was just on not too long, like a couple days ago. It's
cool.
still pretty strong. I mean, I got like 6 or 7 accounts on there. That's how extensive I used to be with it. Not very proud to say that, but
that's all right. I'm the guy who rolled a female character in Star Wars Galaxies just to get all the gifts from players.
I did the same thing with WoW.
Yeah.
I will admit I danced naked as a night elf.
I didn't do it on purpose, so to speak, but when I found out that it happened, I was like, gifts, you say. Anyway, back to the story. All right, so
let's do that.
Because I'm a writer, you know, I can't just steal other people's independent works without somehow making them my own, and that's kind of what I was going for with the character thing that I created.
Yeah, you gotta bend it around a little bit.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not right to steal other people's work, even if it is for your own thing.
Promoting it in a way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between promotion and whatnot, and in my case, I definitely wasn't doing anything nefarious, so I probably could have never worried about it. But I don't know, I was younger then. Things have changed a little bit.
Well, you're also really self-conscious of other people's, possessions and stuff.
Yeah.
Courteous.
Courteous would be a good word, yeah.
Wording.
Yeah. And so that little boy was created. I don't remember what I named him, though. Because, like, I had a name in mind, but it was never actually mentioned in any of the stories I wrote. Because he never went by his regular name, just by the name he was in each of the stories he was involved in.
Oh.
Like what was his name in? He was Blake in Vampire and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was actually particularly proud of my Buffy the Vampire Slayer fanfic because I feel like I nailed the writing style. Like I feel like I really captured the characters in my own story.
Interesting.
Part of me wants.
Mind you, I didn't really watch a lot of Buffy.
I
saw a couple episodes here and there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just never really had the time to catch it.
Yeah, I had a friend who was way too much into it when we were younger, and he's the one that got me into it. I think that was like my junior year of high school. And so he got me into it, and so I watched it and carried on watching it until the end of it.
Interesting.
Yep.
Did he want to be a vampire?
Nah, he Yeah, he's actually graphic design right now, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He's still out on the other side of the world, though. On the other side of America, though, so I ain't seen him in years. Not since we graduated.
Ah, well, at least he's doing good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Actually, today's his birthday, according to Facebook.
Well, happy birthday, friend.
Yes, happy birthday,
Probably,
Kevin.
hopefully he'll see this.
Maybe. I don't know if he watches his channel. I know he's on Step Spacey Gaming. Though how much of it he actually watches is another question.
Yeah, I don't know how many people watch my channel, especially now that there's no new content for the time being.
Yeah, excited computer.
Yes, me too.
We will get you set up and running. Now, thing about we'll talk about the computer afterwards because I just remembered to tell you something. But yeah, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer one I think was definitely my proudest one because, like I said, I really captured the characters. I think.
Was it your magnum opus?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it was about 10 pages long. I never finished it.
Well, why is that?
Mostly because of time. I was writing that one right before I went in the Navy.
In the Navy.
Yeah. But it was kind of funny. It was Blake, and I don't know how much of Buffy you know, but there's a character named Angel. You know him?
Yeah, I know Angel. He had his own offshoot.
Yeah, I like that one a little bit better sometimes.
He's the vampire that he turns evil if he gets his soul back, kind of thing?
No, he's got his soul, and that's why he's not evil.
Or does he lose his soul if he falls in love? Something like that?
He was cursed that should he ever enjoy a moments of happiness, he would lose his soul.
Lose his soul.
And, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. I was trying to figure out what it was that Buffy, instigated to cause him to go evil.
They went to Sheboygan, and he turned
Got
evil.
happy.
Yeah. Sheboygan is my sneaky phrase for saying they had some smexy time.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Although it sounds like a Jewish thing.
It's a town in Wisconsin.
Oh. I don't know. It just sounds Jewish to me.
Yeah. I picked it mainly for the Boygan part in the name.
Oh,
but
yeah.
at the same time, it's like I didn't know it was a town in Wisconsin. It was just something I'd heard at one point. So I turned it into that. And then I found out later on that it was a town in Wisconsin. I'm like, Sheboygan.
So, what was, you said the character was Blake in there, right?
Yeah. Mind you, I don't like the name Blake.
So what made you pick Blake then for the name?
That was kind of part of the rules, was he had somewhat control over the characters he created, but he would never be able to pick their origin or, who they were.
Oh, okay.
So, like, he could make himself a vampire of a vampire like Angel with a soul. And so he would have all the powers of a vampire, but he would still retain his humanity, which is what he did. But at the same time, he ended up being a character named Blake, who never actually existed within the Buffy series, but was a character who lived outside of Sunnydale. And essentially it was his soul that the vampire Blake got. And it's kind of funny because he retains, knowledge of who he is and where he comes from and everything. So he goes into it, and he had the same reaction to the name Blake as I did, which was kind of a story point. Like, I can't believe my name is Blake. That's a horrible name. No offense to any Blakes out there. If it's any consolation to y'all, I also hate the name Steve.
Which is the main character of Minecraft.
Yeah. But also the shortened version of my name that everyone decides to call me.
I don't think I've ever called you Steve.
No. You haven't. You've been good about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I never called you
Steve. Yeah, no, you've
Steve.
been good about that. It's like I get called Steven or Steve, and I'm like, ugh, I hate those.
I think I did call you Steven one time, and your wife at the time corrected me.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that when people haven't heard me say my name before. It's like if they just hear my name or see it written down or something, then most people will kind of unintentionally default to Steve or Steven, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no. But if I've talked to the person before and I'm like, hey, what's your name? Oh, my name's Stefan. And they're like, Steven? Steve? No. I will destroy you. The fury of
I've never
1,000
done that.
suns. Nah, you've been good about it. And honestly, it doesn't happen quite so much anymore because people don't see my name written down as much. I thought it was kind of cool, and then people call me Steph on occasions. I'm like, hey, that's cool. I like that.
Steph.
Yeah.
Huh. Which also could be short for Stephanie.
Yep. Incidentally, funny enough, I was actually supposed to be Stephanie before I was born.
Oh, your parents thought you were a female?
Yep. I was supposed to be a girl, but then I wasn't. I'm sorry, Mom.
But it has to be born.
God, nobody understands me.
So, with Blake, as I was trying to remember, but I got off track.
We're good at this
You
today.
said that he was just randomly tossed in because you said that he doesn't get to control his origin.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
He kind of ends up inhabiting the body that fits the best description of what he's created.
Was he said he was a vampire, right?
Yep. And because in all of the eternity of the Buffy saga, there was only 2, technically, vampires with a soul, he couldn't take either one of them because they were canon. So he ended up taking the body of another vampire, and he became the soul of the vampire.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was about to say, was he Spike?
No, it couldn't be Spike. Spike was canon. That's another one of the rules. He can't be a canon character.
Oh, that would work, because then it would cause continuity errors.
Yep. Yeah, I remember this. The story itself took place season 3, so it was before Angel went bad. But sometime it's been so long since I watched Buffy, I can't even remember the timeline exactly. But they were all still in school, so they hadn't blown it up yet. Oh, spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched Buffy. The show that's been off the air for decades and eons now.
The school blows up.
Yep. They end up blowing up the high school to kill a great evil. Yeah, it was kind of funny because...
a daemon?
Yeah. The character, the kid, went into the world because he was in love with Willow. Yeah, and he wanted to be with her, and it was cute and stuff.
Yeah.
But, he was a vampire. So naturally, he had to work to earn their trust and everything. Created his own little offshoot. He never got he never got the requited love he wanted.
Aw.
Based on the plans I had for it, he was going to get staked before the end of the story and end up getting kicked out.
Eesh.
Yeah. The hazards of entering somebody else's world is one of their enemies, so to speak.
No, I could tell that.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was my proudest one. I did a couple other ones that I wasn't quite so proud of.
Do tell.
not so much a matter of, not always so much a matter of the content of it, but sometimes it was just the writing didn't really fit well. I know I tried to make Star Wars once, Star Wars canon, or Star Wars fan fiction once. But the problem was he wanted to be a Jedi and couldn't be a Jedi. So he became a Force-sensitive person who didn't know they were Force-sensitive.
Huh.
Because at that time, there was only, that was back in the original trilogy. So it was just Luke and Obi-Wan and Leia, but Leia didn't know. And
yeah.
so it was a matter of, he had to take the body of somebody who didn't know they had the power, which led to a little bit of a problem, especially with the Empire at the height of it. Meaning he had no practice and no training in the Force. I was going to say the spells. So that didn't work out quite as well as he wanted it to. And from a writing standpoint, I couldn't figure out how to make it work, so it didn't work out as well as I wanted it to either.
So you put the kibosh on that one?
Yeah. The Marvel character was a fun one.
Ooh.
Yep.
What powers did he have there?
Yeah, it was funny because he wanted Wolverine's powers, but he also wanted Nightcrawler's powers. So he ended up becoming a character that could turn invisible. And he couldn't figure out the connection on that one. He's like, what? Why? This is neither one of their powers.
Yeah.
But in that case,
you've done Marvel, you did Star Wars,
yeah,
and you've done Buffy.
Yeah.
So since I noticed you did some really high-profile, partisan, I'd say, in the fiction world, did you happen to do Star Trek and or DC?
I did do DC, but that one kind of worked out about as well as the Marvel one did. Marvel one came out pretty well, but at the same time, it was like, I feel like I'm just repeating myself with this one, as far as from a writing standpoint.
Yeah.
And so that one kind of fell out because I did Marvel first.
Oh.
Funny part was, the character wanted to be in the X-Men, but I liked the Defenders, and so I put him in the Defenders. And so he was a little disappointed, but he actually ended up having a lot of fun with the Defenders.
That works.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the DC one because I know I scrapped it quick.
Why scrap quick?
Because it was like I was starting to write it, and I'm like, well, what sort of powers would he have? What do I like from the DC universe that I would want to give him? And I couldn't even figure it out. I was like, I know I like speedsters, and I don't want to make him a Kryptonian because, well, there's only so many of them left. That too, yeah. And he, as much as he wants to be in the stories, he can't be completely in the stories, and something that would affect the stories so much would be a bad.
Yeah. He has to be incognito.
Yeah. And so I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do with him. I was like, speedster, there's plenty of speedsters. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But
oddly enough, I'm not really a fan of speedsters.
Yeah.
My favorite one ended up being the only one without superpowers.
Robin.
No, Batman.
I know, I'm being a butt.
Even though you could say being a rich billionaire could be a superpower.
What's your superpower? Money.
Yeah. No, he's a Tony Stark.
Yep. Except he doesn't have to be as flashy.
Yeah. He actually tries to be devoid of flash.
Yep.
There are more ways than one. Ha, ha, ha.
Well,
Nah, I think a lot of them, he actually has a lot of respect for the Flash.
yeah. I think I wanted to do Star Trek. I think I wanted to do Star Trek, but I can't. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Because at the same time, like with the bigger ships, you can become a lowly character, but then you won't, get listened to.
Yeah.
All the officers and whatnot tend to be canon characters, so he couldn't become a canon character. And then if he became, Seaman Ricky on the engineering deck, then he couldn't really have much say. And knowing his luck, he'd probably end up as a red shirt anyway.
Then he get killed.
Yep. Yeah, and so I don't think I ever did Star Trek because of that. Maybe I should revive that kid sometime.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would be interested to read it.
Yeah. And I know I'm not going to be able to get it from my mom because that's like, oof. Try to get a hold of my mom on the other side of the place. Hey, Mom, do you know where my old stories were? Yeah, I put them in. I put them in storage, and all the storage. I didn't pay the bill or anything, so.
What's that noise for?
I frothed a little.
Oh.
Because I just remembered that's where all my stuff ended up after I left home.
Oh.
She put all my stuff in storage, and then all my stuff that was in storage, the storage didn't get paid for, so I lost it all.
Good.
Yep.
Sorry to hear that.
That's okay. I mean, I couldn't expect her to hold on to it forever, but I had some vintage Star Wars characters that I know that whoever bought my storage locker is like flipping out about. But then again, I was also a teenager, so there's stuff in my storage locker that I probably don't want people to know about. Ow. My knee.
That'd be funny if the person that got your storage locker is actually listening to this.
He's like, yes, and I am so disturbed. That was oof, so long ago.
Were there any other genres you stepped into? Maybe like Predatorverse or Alienverse?
I went into individual stories. I think I'm trying to remember if I did Terminator or if I just wanted to do Terminator. But for the most part, I just kind of stuck to like the Marvel one, the Buffy one, and then I did like standalones. Like I did Dragonheart once. I love Dragonheart. That was a good movie.
Yep.
The sequels were not so good.
Yeah, we girlfriend and I watched the first Dragonheart not too long ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think I saw it before. I just did, but I think it was like a long time ago. So it was a good refresher. And she did say that the sequels were kind of that, so we never really touched the sequels.
Yeah, the sequels were pretty bad.
I kind of figured, considering Sean Connery's character got killed.
Yep.
Spoilers.
I got a little bit. Yeah, I remember. A Knight's Tale was a fun one. I don't know if you watched my recent video on the.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Not on the channel.
Yeah, I did the I Love Love video where I was talking about. Basically, ended up talking about past relationships for almost 25 minutes. I whittled the video.
I figured that's what it was.
Yeah, I whittled the video down a bit, but it was a lot of me talking about past relationships, and one of my more storied romances had ended up with me and her falling asleep in a shed watching A Knight's Tale. Yeah.
That's kind of romantic.
Yep. It was. That was a long time ago, though. And I'd kind of wanted to go into A Knight's Tale, but that was another one of the issues where it's like, who would I be? And I was trying to think of a way that I might include her into it because it was her favorite movie. And I was like, maybe it could be a situation where he goes to use his power again, but he's got a friend and he wants to bring her along. And I was thinking that would be cool. So instead of actually interacting with the story, they could just live in the world. And I was thinking maybe that could actually be a good way to end the story, with him escaping into one of the worlds that he loves with somebody he cares about.
And it becoming permanent.
Yeah. Getting away from all the abuse and everything that he was always facing. And just escape with somebody he cares about. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if I don't know if I actually ever wrote that down or if I just planned it out. Yeah, that'd have been great. But you see what I mean, though? You see what I mean, though? I didn't go the perverse route of trying to make things all about smexy time.
Yeah, I hear you.
There was still a bit of romance in some of them, but for the most part, it was just kind of a kid trying to escape.
Yeah.
So, if you had a universe that you could escape into for a little while, where would you go?
Oh, that's a interesting question. I don't know. Huh. Universe. Don't mind me, I'm a little nasally.
That's all right, I'm a little raspy.
Yeah. Wait, you get a slide because you're recovering.
Yeah.
My sinuses are just perpetually stuffed.
Wow.
World I would like to retreat into. That is an excellent question.
Yeah.
Cannot think of anything off the bat though for it. What would you want to retreat into?
You know, it's like, I'm not sure if there is any place I'd want to go these days. With the way a lot of things have been going, it's like nothing seems pure anymore. Maybe I'm just getting too old.
I'd have to say back in, like, even a couple of years ago, back when I was still playing WoW, I'd say probably the WoW world.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Actually, now, I'd probably say the Final Fantasy 14 world. That one's kind of got my attention.
Yeah. Things were a lot easier when I was a kid because I could just look at things from the singular dimension, you know? It's like, I like this place, It's fun, but now as an adult, I have to think about all the other things. I'd say RPG worlds would definitely be a great place to go to, though.
Yeah. Or anime world.
Yeah.
Depending on the anime.
I like the idea of RPGs because you can go in and you may not start strong, but you can still get strong.
Get good.
Yeah, get good, scrub. Anime world. As long as you're determined, nothing can kill you. Or if you know it does, then your friends will always love you and bring you back. So I think maybe the MCU, because there's such a, maybe not even the MCU, just Marvel in general, because there's such a wide variety of people I could become if I escape there.
Yeah.
Got to be careful, though.
Yeah. I say Final Fantasy 14 mainly for the fact that you could become something from no one.
Yeah.
Which is kind of technically what you do in the story.
Yeah. And you're
a no-name and you become a hero.
You can swap your characters around. So you don't have to just be a knight. You can be a bard, dancer, dark knight.
It's kind of gotten I'd like to call it the WoW treatment, where they've decided to kind of water down the game. They used to make it so that if you wanted to be like a, let's say, paladin, you had to be I think it was a gladiator, and you had to have conjurer at a certain level. It was like gladiator level 30 and like conjurer level 15, and then you got the special mission to become a paladin.
You had to path it out. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then you could cross-class abilities, like as a paladin. Since you had Conjurer, you can get Cure Spell and use that, and Stone Skin yourself. Albeit it wasn't as strong as like a White Mage or a Conjurer would, but you had that. You could also, I think, you could cross-class protect back in the day.
Nice.
But now it's like you don't need the both of them to hit that. You just need to get to level 30 on your gladiator. Then you do the mission. You're, hey, I'm a pally, and then you got to. Um, oh, there's Cauldron's cool. Um, After that, you had to, or you didn't get those abilities anymore. I mean, you got like certain special abilities, and like your role abilities are kind of lame. I don't really use any of them. I mean, they have utility for the most part, but they're for the basically all around they're just crap.
Oh, I gotcha.
Sadly, the game's still fun though.
Yeah. And it's still one I'm kind of looking at wanting to do.
You do need time though if you're gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to do a Joffrey episode at least once.
I'm pretty sure that it's still free for the basic on PS4.
The Steps Basic?
Oh, the basic level. It should be just called Realm Reborn.
Stupid joke, sorry.
I know.
I keep doing that joke too much.
Yeah, whenever you hear basic or steps.
Yeah.
Steps basic?
I kind of love the idea of the whole escapism and everything of that story, especially, given the life the kid had to lead, all because of his author being mean.
Yeah, from one writer to another, like, I know what you mean about, like, character development and stuff. You get attached to the characters because they're literally a part of you. They're your imagination.
Oh yeah, that's something.
I know.
That's something explaining to other people. Is like when it comes to creating characters, and when the character dies, it hurts. It's like you think it hurt when you watched or you read or.
It just feels like you lose a part of yourself. Like part of your own being dies with that person.
Yeah. A little minor spoiler for one of my books that isn't out yet. One of my characters, her name was Wind Dancer. She had the ability to manipulate wind. No, she's a human.
Oh, that's a no-brainer. Wind Dancer, wind.
Yeah, wow.
Bender.
Yeah, it's from prehistoric times, as it were. She was actually one of the first upright humans born.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was.
She's a biped.
Yep. Rather than being one of the slouchback Neanderthals, she was one of the very first Homo sapiens, naturally born.
She's an evolved.
Yeah, and she developed the ability to manipulate wind, and her family called her Wind Dancer because her and her family lived in the plains, and it was edged by a massive cliff, and she fell off as a young child, and the wind just kind of brought her back up.
Nice.
Yeah, and so her family called her Wind Dancer. But it was kind of funny because, I'll have to go into a lot more depth into that explanation than we have time for to explain the entire world behind that story. But essentially, she ended up dying at one point in the story, and I had to stop writing for a couple of weeks. Because it hurt so bad. I loved my little Wind Dancer.
Well, for me, I had a character, and female as well, sadly. And just out of nowhere, I was just in the middle of work, and that thought popped in my head. And the only thing that I could voice was like, oh, well, she has to die.
Yep. Evil.
Yeah.
Writing is hard work.
It's just the scene just popped in my head. It wasn't like I decided that this character has to die, because quite frankly, I'd rather the character survive.
You haven't read any of my False God story, have you?
No, I don't think you've given it to me.
Well, I'm going to have to make you read it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to actually force myself to set time aside, because I still need to read those zombies stories you got.
Oh, yeah.
And I keep forgetting about it. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
It's nothing against your writing or you. It's just
time.
it's time, and I get sidetracked really easily.
Have you ever considered writing any fan fiction?
Not really.
No.
I
Yeah,
don't.
you probably approach it from the
I
same.
can't really. Hmm?
You probably approach it from the same mentality I have for it. It's like it's not my work. Why would I want to try to expand on it?
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like I consider anything that I enjoy like that sacred, and I can't infringe my own um like my own imagination upon it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why at one part it was like I wanted to write some Buffy stuff, but at the same time I was like I want this character to have life, and that's where the story mostly came about, was because of that kid's ability.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a whole series of it, but of course, need individual rights and whatnot. Can't just write somebody else's work.
Mm-hmm.
Writing
Otherwise,
it
you get the band hammer.
writing it for myself is one thing, but I couldn't make it any official thing.
Well, you could write it for other people. You just can't. Well, actually, I don't know about nowadays, but back then you just couldn't gain any money off of it.
Technically,
profit off of it.
Yeah, technically you can because nobody's going to tell on you, but also you can't because it still counts as infringement of copyright if you create works for public consumption that involve other people's work. Includes
I call bull honks on that. It should not be that way.
Yeah. It's like I would like to write a story for my friend involving his favorite story area or his favorite universe, and I will do that, and then he will go and tell all of his friends about it, and I will get arrested. Or, well, technically I'd get sued, but civil and whatnot. All right, well, we have been going for an hour plus minutes.
Well, we have already?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Have you exhausted everything about your fan fiction?
I mean, pretty much.
Or will we do a part 2?
Well, I think part 2 should be fan fiction in general. But I think I pretty much exhausted, because that was my only dabbling in fan fiction, was just my own story there.
Uh-huh.
And I never really tried to write anything outside of it,
It seems like your story premise kind of reminds me of a movie. Wasn't there like a kid that could go into like comic books and stuff?
I mean, there was Last Action Hero.
Last Action Hero? Yeah.
When he had the golden ticket and he ended up going into the movie.
Yeah. Was that Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yep.
Uh-huh. That's why I remember it.
I watched that movie so much. Look, an elephant. I was actually just telling...
you're in that village.
I was actually just telling Lizzie about it the other day. About Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
That one was funny. I need to find that movie again. That movie was good. I mean, it was good in quotation marks. It was fun, which is what I use to describe movies that have very little substance but are still entertaining.
Man, hard sell.
Yeah. That's what most movies are these days to me. There are some good ones, but most of them are just, fun.
I hear you.
Sonic was awesome.
It was?
Yes. I mean, I may have gone into it with a little bit lowered expectations, but at the same time...
Especially considering the way it originally started.
Yeah. At the same time, it ended up coming out... I ended up coming out of that movie just goofy smiling the whole time. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Goofy smiling, huh?
Yeah, just like...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I had a lot of fun with it, though. It was good. And Lizzie liked it, which was more important to me. Because I didn't care if I didn't like it, as long as she enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, of course. It's daughter father time.
Yep. She was my Valentine.
As it should be.
Oh, anyway, we were supposed to wrap this up, weren't we?
Maybe. I don't know, were we? Nice.
Thank you. I was impressed with that one. Anything else you feel we need to discuss regarding my cheap foray?
Fanfictions? No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah, next week or next time we can discuss fan fictions and their impact and what we don't and do like about them. But,
yeah, I don't really read a lot of fan fiction, so I'll have to brush up on some.
Yeah. I mean, you can find some that you might like, you avoid the ones that you don't. And it's like for me, I'm not a big fan of fan fiction in general, but I like the idea of it.
Probably because they get too much into the
Sexy
the
time.
icky sticky of the romance.
Yeah. And they all end up going to Sheboygan in the end.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is. It's basically like softcore.
Yep. All right. But anyway, I think that's it for us for this week. And thank you all so much for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, remember, go ahead and jab that like button in the eye.
You want to treat it some love. You don't want to beat it up.
I mean, some people like that. But anyway.
Oh boy.
But anyway, if you want to see more from us, make sure to subscribe. And any closing words, goodbyes, and all that from you?
I'm a little flabbergasted from that little bit you just pulled.
I'm not weird. What are you talking about?
I didn't say you're weird. I was a little maybe concerned.
All right. Well, anyway, good night, everybody.
Good night.